I pretended to be unfaithful to my boyfriend so he would value me more, and when he found the planted condom, he called me a whore and said, "I will buy that house, but it will be only for me, maybe even with your so-called friend who moves better than you." My name is Myra, 24 years old, a freelance photographer. My boyfriend Jonah is also 24 and is an event photographer. We met a little over 2 years ago at a wedding where he was the main photographer, and I was part of the team hired for secondary photography and editing. Since then we became inseparable, and over time we officially started dating. Our relationship was always stable, at least at the beginning. We both share a passion for photography, and that made me think we were made for each other. We worked together on several events. We shared clients, and little by little we started to dream of bigger things, forming a brand together, opening a small studio, and, above all, buying a house. That objective became our main goal. The problem began when that goal started to consume everything else. A year ago, Jonah started accepting every event he was offered. It did not matter if it was a wedding in another city, a last-minute night session, or a multi-day coverage. He said yes to everything. His justification was always the same: the more we work now, the faster we will have our house. I understood that logic. I really do. I also want that house. I also want that security. But what he did not see was that to achieve it, he was sacrificing practically our entire life as a couple. The first times he canceled dates with me were for work commitments that came up at the last minute. A dinner planned for weeks was ruined because a high-paying client called him for an express session. A trip to the movies was canceled because tomorrow's wedding is very big and I need to prepare the equipment. Even my birthday last year I spent alone because he had agreed to cover an event out of town. It hurt me, but I tried not to make a drama out of it. I told him I understood, and he always answered with the same thing, that he was doing it for us, that I should not worry, that soon everything would change. But that soon never came. What started as something occasional became routine. Every week, he spent more time with his camera and with clients than with me. Sometimes, seeing him edit photos of other people at 3 in the morning, I wondered if he realized that I was also there, a few feet away waiting for him. I tried to talk about it many times. I told him that I felt lonely, that I missed spending time with him without screens, cameras, or deadlines in between. And he always answered me with patience, but without real changes. "It is just a phase, May. I promise that afterwards we will rest and travel." But the months kept passing and we spent less and less time together. I do not want you to think that he neglects me because he does not love me. I know he loves me. When we are together and there is no work involved, he is the sweetest man in the world. But it is as if his brain is programmed not to reject any project, as if every opportunity that comes his way is impossible to pass up. A few weeks ago I realized that I felt invisible, literally invisible. I would wake up, and he was already at the computer editing. I would go out and he was in a session. I would come back and he was reviewing budgets or answering emails. Even when we had dinner together, his phone would ring with messages from clients or event coordinators, and he could not ignore them. I was beginning to feel like I was just another accessory in his life, something that was there, but that did not require immediate attention. And the worst part is that when I told him how I felt, he just asked me for patience. It was then that I did something that I am not sure about now. One day, talking with a very close friend, I told her what was happening to me. I told her that I felt that Jonah took it for granted that I would always be there waiting no matter how much he neglected me. And she, half-jokingly, told me, "Well, give him a scare. Make him think that someone else is paying attention to you. Let's see if that wakes him up." At first I laughed. I am not into those types of games, but that idea stayed in my head for days, and the more I thought about it, the more convinced I became that maybe a little controlled jealousy could make him realize what he was losing. I was not planning to do anything real, just something credible enough for him to react. I convinced myself that it would be a kind of experiment. Nothing serious, nothing that would cross an irreversible line, just a way to remind him that I also needed to be prioritized. And that is where it all began. I decided to plan it well. It could not be something obvious or ridiculous that he would detect as a game. It had to seem spontaneous and real. So I started leaving small clues, A message I would forget to close on my phone, a laugh while reading something on social media, going out a couple of times with a friend and not giving many details. Everything, of course, was fake. I just wanted to plant the seed. The first week I noticed small changes. Jonah started asking me more often where I was going, who I was with. He even told me one night, "Hey, you seem different lately. Is something wrong?" I felt guilty, but also a little satisfied. It was the first time in months that his attention had shifted from work to me, but it was not enough. I did not just want questions, I wanted him to do something to get back what we were losing. So I took the act a little further. One day, while he was editing, I let my phone ring with a notification from a made-up name. I pretended to get nervous and answered in another room. When I came back, he was looking at me strangely. "Who was that?" he asked. "A friend," I replied as if it was not important. From then on, things started to escalate. And this is where the problem begins. What I thought would be a harmless game to make him value me more started to feel like I was playing with fire. He started paying more attention to me, yes, but he also started to become more distant at other times, as if he was processing something. I kept telling myself that everything was under control, that I would soon reveal to him that it was just a joke to get him to react, but every day that passes I feel that window of control is closing. I do not know how to explain the feeling, as if I have opened a door that I now do not know how to close. Update. After what happened in the last few weeks, I started to feel that if I was going to do this, I had to do it right. I could not go halfway because then he might think I was just making things up to get his attention. And in my mind, twisted by frustration and loneliness, I thought that the only way for him to really react was to do something that would shock him, something he could not ignore. I know how it sounds, I know it seems crazy, but at that moment I was convinced that it was for the good of our relationship. So I made a decision. I was going to leave a physical proof that would make him confront the situation immediately. My opportunity came because lately he had been using my car whenever his was in the shop or needed maintenance. It was not uncommon for him to drive it to an event or a meeting with clients. I knew that he checked the car before returning it, that he arranged everything and cleaned up anything that was not in its place. So I thought, if I leave something compromising there, he will surely find it. The plan was simple, in theory. Buy a condom, fill it with something that looked, well, you can imagine, and leave it carelessly in a visible, but not too obvious place. Something that looked like it fell accidentally. I went to a pharmacy, bought a pack of condoms. I was embarrassed, even knowing it was for something totally fake. And then at home I filled one with a white body cream that had a very convincing texture. I tied it carefully and left it on the floor, between the passenger seat and the carpet, as if it had slipped out of a pocket or a bag. As I was doing it, I felt a strange mixture of adrenaline and guilt. Part of me wondered if I was crossing a line that was too dangerous, but another part was excited because I thought I was finally going to provoke a real reaction. The plan was simple. When he found it, he would come to confront me. And there I would reveal to him that everything had been fake, a kind of staging so that he would understand what I was feeling and that he was losing me. I would explain that nothing had happened, that I just wanted him to pay attention to me. And in my head, he would be relieved, but he would also understand the lesson. Everything under control, or at least that is what I thought. This morning I lent him the car as usual. He had an event a few hours away, and he told me he would probably be back at night. When he left, I was left alone at home, but my heart was beating faster than ever. My hands were sweating, and I could not stop thinking about the moment he would check the car and find that proof. And here I am now, writing this while he is out there with my car, completely unaware of what I have done. I am nervous, very nervous. I feel a knot in my stomach because what if he does not react as I expect? What if instead of talking it over with me, he assumes the worst and acts impulsively? What if he decides he does not want to hear explanations? I am not going to lie. A part of me is afraid that this will go terribly wrong, but I cannot turn back now. The condom is there, and he will probably see it before he comes back. My phone is on, and every time it vibrates I think it is him. I am waiting for that message, that furious call, that door to be thrown open to start the confrontation that, according to me, will do us good. Although, to be honest, I am no longer so sure that all this will help us. Update. I do not even know how to start this. I just know that everything went in the worst possible way. And when I say worse, I mean something that I would not have imagined even in my worst nightmares. A few days have passed since what I am about to tell, but my hands still tremble when I remember it. That afternoon, after lending him my car and setting up the plan, I spent hours waiting for him to arrive. The phone never rang. No messages, nothing. I thought that maybe he would come in a rage or that he would call me on the way to demand explanations, but no. When I finally heard the door open, he was calm, too calm. He did not even look at me. He just came in, went straight to the closet, took out a large suitcase and started packing his clothes. I was in shock for a few seconds, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "What are you doing?" Without even stopping, he answered me with a tone so cold that it chilled my blood, "Because you are a whore. I saw your little gift in the car. I am surprised you did not swallow them, considering what a whore you are." I felt as if someone had hit me in the chest. I was paralyzed. I was not prepared for him to react like that. I expected anger, yes, but not that direct verbal violence. "Honey," I managed to say, trying to stay calm. "Look at it closely, it is fake. All of this was so you would notice me, so you would value me." Then he did stop. For a moment, he stopped putting clothes in the suitcase. He turned to look at me with an expression I could not describe. It was not just anger, it was a mixture of weariness, contempt, and something else I did not want to recognize. "Value you," he repeated as if the word sounded absurd to him. So, killing myself working, accepting all the events, sleeping less than 5 hours a day to get a house for both of us. That is not valuing you. What more do you want me to do? I tried to get closer, but he took a step back as if my presence bothered him. "I do not care if it was real or a little joke," he continued. "I have been fed up for a long time. You just complain and complain. Your mouth does not know how to do anything but whine." Every word was like a knife. He was not shouting, but his voice sounded so full of resentment that it hurt me more than if he were shouting. "You know what?" he added, closing the suitcase. "I am going to buy that house. And it will be just for me. Tell me how much you have saved, because you spend it all on stupid things with that other little whore friend of yours." I could not believe what I was hearing. I did not understand why he was bringing my friend into the conversation, which, by the way, he continued as if he were firing the last bullet. "She has been sending me provocative messages, and I have always told her to go to hell to be faithful to you. But maybe now that I am single I will do her the little favor, because she looks like she moves it better than you." I was perplexed. I feel like my brain stopped processing for a moment. I did not know if he was saying it just to hurt me or if it was really true. My heart was beating so fast that I felt like I was going to collapse. "No, do not say that," I managed to murmur, with tears streaming down my cheeks. But he said nothing more. He simply took the suitcase, put on his jacket, and walked towards the door. I reacted on impulse. I ran to him, I begged him, I knelt on the floor, I grabbed his pants, crying like never before in my life. "Please, do not go." It was not like that. I did not mean to. He did not look at me, he said nothing, he just opened the door, went out and closed it behind him. The silence that remained afterwards was so heavy that it almost suffocated me. I stayed there on the floor, with my knees on the cold floor, unable to believe that it had all ended like this. I do not know how much time passed before I could move. I just know that that night I did not sleep, I did not eat. I did nothing but go over and over everything that happened. And how an idea that I thought would strengthen our relationship ended up destroying it in the cruelest way possible. And yes, I know that I started it all, that I laid the first stone in this catastrophe, but I cannot stop thinking about how quickly he left, about how easy it was for him to turn around and not look back. Today, as I write this, I still do not understand how it went from "I want you to value me" to "I am alone," and he is already planning to be with someone else, maybe with my friend. I feel like my life fell apart in a matter of minutes, and the worst part is that I was the one who lit the fuse. Update. It has been a month since everything fell apart. A month that feels like a whole year. I never imagined you could feel so much pain without a physical wound, but it is true. It is all in my head and in my chest, and it is as if a huge weight will not let me breathe. For the first 2 weeks, my world became an unbearable silence. I would get up, look at my phone, and the only thing I found were the old conversations that no longer had a response. I wrote to him several times at the beginning, hoping that, once the anger passed, he would answer me. Messages like, "I am sorry, let's talk, please. Just listen to me one more time." But there was never a response. Not a seen receipt, not a call, nothing. In the midst of all this, there was something eating me up inside, what he said about my friend. For days I told myself that he surely said it to hurt me, that it could not be true. So I gathered my strength and confronted her. I met her at a coffee shop, and when she arrived, she looked at me as if nothing had happened. I did not want to beat around the bush. I asked her directly if what he told me was true. Her reaction left me frozen. She did not deny it. She did not even flinch. She just smiled sideways and told me with that calm voice she always had, "Yes." So what? That man did not deserve to be with a failure like you. I could not believe I was hearing that. She, who for so long was my confidant, who knew everything about me, told me without any kind of remorse. At that moment, I felt a mixture of anger, sadness, and shame. I got up and left without saying anything more. I did not want to cry in front of her. I was not going to let her have that. That day was when I understood that I had lost not only my partner, but also someone I thought was my friend. I was left alone. Since then, I tried to contact him a couple more times, but nothing. The last time I saw him was a week ago. I was covering an event for a client. There were a lot of people and a rather chaotic atmosphere. Among the crowd, I saw him. He saw me too. For a moment, I thought that meant something, but as soon as our eyes met, he lowered the camera he had hanging, turned around, and left the place, almost fleeing. It was like a dagger straight to the heart. Not even a gesture, not even a sign that he recognized me as someone he once loved. Just absolute rejection. That night I broke down. I could not stop thinking about how I lost him and, even more, about how I pushed him away with my own hands. The truth is that I am not well. I have been having trouble sleeping for weeks. When I finally fall asleep, I wake up suddenly with anxiety attacks. I feel my heart beating so fast that it is going to explode. My hands sweat, and my head will not stop spinning with everything that happened.